you were on the scene and you were powerful, like, to be honest, like, if you're not in those files, it would be an insult because it just means that you were a bit of a loser.
She wrote, your favorite artist has been practicing rituals in a satanic cult where they take babies from other countries and mutilate and kill them as a form of blood sacrifice to their god.
Epstein was possibly about to cooperate with the feds right before he died.
Now, Oprah is limited in the context of the files, but there is clear collusion between Oprah and Jeffrey Epstein.
The U.S. Department of Justice released over 3,000 files connected to Jeffrey Epstein. Oprah Winfrey's name appears several times in contact lists, emails, court records, and testimony summaries, which has triggered online speculation about the nature of their connection, even though being mentioned does not indicate any wrongdoing. Photos and reported communications between them have added more fuel to the debate, while critics note that many high-profile figures operated within Epstein's social network, raising questions about how he kept ties with influential individuals. Some observers believe that links to major media personalities may have unintentionally helped legitimize him socially. Certain emails also suggest Epstein was trying to repair his image through powerful media relationships, although some people question whether those messages are authentic. Attention also shifts to 2007 when Oprah launched the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls in South Africa, which later became involved in a serious controversy after a dorm matron was accused of abusing more than 15 students. The incident harmed Oprah's humanitarian reputation and sparked questions about what leadership knew at the time. However, no evidence ever showed that Oprah had personal knowledge of the abuse. A viral tweet has been spreading online claiming connections between Oprah and Jeffrey Epstein and alleging that documents referenced Epstein offering money to women to bear children for black market purposes. The post also mentions Jotshur Defaria, known as John of God, a Brazilian spiritual healer who was later jailed for sexual abuse crimes, and notes that he had previously appeared on Oprah's platform. The tweet goes on to make extreme claims about underground abuse, organ harvesting, and ritual practices, though these allegations remain unproven and widely disputed. It also references fashion executive Peter Nygaard, who faced serious criminal charges, and mentions accusations that he tried to bribe women in disturbing ways. While these claims have fueled anger on social media, many of the more sensational stories circulating online lack verified evidence, and no credible proof has linked Oprah to any of the alleged criminal activities.
I bid $500, but you know, I'm prepared to outbid him anyway. Whatever I bid, he's going to outbid me. I bought about $60,000 worth of eggs. Yeah. If you have an abortion, that's very valuable. Umbilical cord, and placenta, even your period blood is so rich with stem cells. Yeah. We regard it as waste, and it actually should be. It should be captured as recycled, and it shouldn't go to waste. It's life for somebody, Yeah. And it's life for George Bush. But no, the best eggs are 16 to 18 years old. Those are the best eggs. 16 to 18 year olds. The older your eggs get to be good.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So you may not be our top candidate.
No, that's fine.
Online rumors about secret elite groups using children's blood or stem cells have circulated for years, but there is no verified evidence supporting these claims. After public attention intensified around Jeffrey Epstein, Nicki Minaj posted cryptic tweets reflecting on her experiences in the entertainment industry, while some observers tried to connect her comments to powerful social circles often discussed online. These interpretations remain speculative, and there is no solid proof linking anyone to the extreme claims spreading across social media.
She wrote, your favorite artist has been practicing rituals in a satanic cult where they take babies from other countries and mutilate and kill them as a form of blood sacrifice to their god. You see, when your master is Satan, you must constantly shed blood. However, the jig is up. And yeah, she's, not the first person in Hollywood to say that. I just don't know how much could be in our face anymore before we wake up and realize these people are ruling over us, and they win when we're fighting with each other. That's just the reality. I really don't see how you can have a ton of success in Hollywood and not be in the club, because Hollywood was founded upon this. I just don't really care what you call.
Much of the conversation surrounding Jeffrey Epstein focuses on allegations about his conduct toward minors, but there is no confirmed evidence backing extreme claims such as secret breeding programs or so-called baby farm operations. Some victims did testify about abuse and described how Epstein allegedly manipulated and exploited young people, and they reported disturbing conversations about reproduction and scientific ideas. According to public records and testimony, Epstein owned a ranch in New Mexico that later became a topic of online speculation. However, many of the more sensational claims circulating on the internet are not supported by verified facts. While Epstein was known to associate with scientists and wealthy elites, authorities have not proven claims that he was involved in genetic engineering projects or attempts to create designer babies.
It literally shows emails that Jeffrey Epstein was creating designer babies. I really want to know why we haven't heard the DOJ talk about this, especially since some of the survivors said that this happened to them in Jeffrey Epstein's New Mexico property, Zorro Ranch. How I found out that he was working with another person to create these designer babies is because I saw him ordering a lot of 23andMe kits, and he was sending them to a lot of different people as gifts. In this email, he was sending some to Woody Allen and his adopted daughter at one point in time, who is now his wife. And I started to see a lot of emails in the Epstein files of people saying that they were pregnant to Jeffrey Epstein, or even alluding that he had actual children. Like this email in 2011 to Jeffrey Epstein, and it appears to be from Sarah Ferguson. And it said, "You have disappeared. I didn't even know you were having a baby. It's so crystal clear to me that you were only friends with me to get to Andrew. And that really hurt me deeply, more than you will know. Congratulations on your baby boy." And this email in 2006 from Glenn Dubin to Jeffrey Epstein. "I get pictures of you flying over Mount Fiji, and I have to find out from Benghazi that you have twin babies. Eva and I are so excited for you. Please send pictures ASAP." And Glenn Dubin says, "Test tube babies, just thinking." Started looking up the term babies in the Epstein files, and this is when I came across this. It was titled Designer Babies in August of 2018, and he has it on like an agenda. Then I found this email, and it's from Brian Bishop to Jeffrey Epstein, and it's Designer Babies / Brian Bishop. So I looked up who Brian Bishop was, because I was like, why are they saying Designer Babies? And it says, Brian Bishop is a software engineer and a biohacker who gained attention for his attempts to fund and advance a do-it-yourself, or DIY, designer baby project using Bitcoin. His project aimed to utilize the CRISPR gene editing technology to engineer human embryos for enhanced traits, such as increased muscle mass or improved memory. And this is the next email I found about designer babies, and it's from Brian Bishop to Jeffrey Epstein, and it says, "Here is a deck about my designer baby project. I have talked with Austin again, and we have a series of questions about how serious you are about wanting this, and what are the ground rules for me even exploring this with you."
Allegations of disturbing activity were connected to Jeffrey Epstein and the private island linked to him, although many details discussed online remain unverified beyond the confirmed abuse cases. After his 2006 arrest, Epstein reportedly tried to rebuild his public image by shifting toward philanthropy, donating to charities, supporting academic programs, and engaging with elite scientific and humanitarian organizations. Several universities and institutions accepted his financial contributions, despite his criminal history, which later became a major source of public criticism. When these efforts failed to fully repair his reputation, speculation emerged that he sought support from trusted public figures to improve how the public viewed him.
Now, Oprah is limited in the context of the files, but there is clear collusion between Oprah and Jeffrey Epstein. What do you mean? Well, Sarah Ferguson, yes, the Duchess of York, she is involved with Epstein, and she is involved with Oprah. Let's talk about this specifically. Sarah sent Epstein an email saying, I want to make sure you're aware I'm going on Oprah tomorrow, and she is going to ask me about my debts, the entrapment of last year, and the press about you in January. It'll be quick and at the top of the show, all of 10 seconds, a very small piece. However, I just wanted to make sure that you are aware of this and seek your advice on how you want me to answer. It will be a tiny piece. This is straight up collusion. This is Oprah passing through a message to Epstein. And you know what? Jeffrey responded to Sarah with the answer that he was supposed to give. Jeffrey was unfairly characterized as a pedophile by the tabloid press. Many years ago, Jeffrey pleaded guilty to soliciting underage prostitutes. He paid his debt to society and has sought forgiveness. I have nothing more to say. This was in 2011. This is clear collusion between...
It has been noted online that Oprah Winfrey has crossed paths with several controversial figures in the entertainment industry, including individuals such as Harvey Weinstein, R. Kelly, and Sean Combs. Some commentators argue that repeated associations with controversial personalities suggest a pattern, while others emphasize that social or professional connections do not automatically imply support or involvement in wrongdoing. Reports also circulated that Winfrey had previously spoken about Weinstein, though interpretations of her remarks have differed, and there is no clear consensus that she publicly defended criminal behavior.
Were publicly supported victims of sexual assault in the wake of numerous allegations against Harvey Weinstein. Singer Seal Instagrammed this meme showing Winfrey kissing the disgraced mogul. It reads, when you have been part of the problem for decades, but suddenly they all think you are the solution.
Please welcome Seal!
The 54-year-old who's appeared on Oprah's show captioned his post, "Oh, I forgot. That's right. You'd heard the rumors, but you had no idea he was actually serially assaulting young starry-eyed actresses. My bad." While Weinstein maintains his innocence, Seal hasn't commented further, and Oprah has not responded.
This moment is a really powerful time for everybody to get woke.
Fans have come to her defense, pointing out Winfrey is a sexual survivor. They also posted pics of Seal's ex, Heidi Klum.
Some critics argue that the entertainment industry at times places profit and public image ahead of accountability, claiming that power and influence can discourage open discussion of misconduct. Online conversations have occasionally linked Oprah Winfrey to broader debates about celebrity networks, but there is no verified evidence supporting claims of systemic cover-ups. In discussions about industry pressure, comedian Dave Chappelle is frequently mentioned because he reportedly turned down a major entertainment deal, a move some fans interpret as a stand against creative or corporate control. Interpretations differ, but critics of Hollywood Los Angeles sometimes argue that established power structures can make it harder for controversial issues to be openly addressed, though these views remain opinions rather than proven facts.
Out of my frame of reference, I've been in show business since I was 14. And I've heard the stories of what happens, and I've seen these kinds of things play out in front of me.
Okay. When you say you heard the stories, what do you mean? What stories?
I mean, you see it before. Look, Mariah Carey made a $100 million deal, and 3 months later, she's all of a sudden mysteriously crazy. Or Martin Lawrence punches through, and he's waving a gun on the street screaming, "They're trying to kill me."
Yeah, we hear those stories.
And it always happens around the time of their career where it seems as though they're crossing over the next plateau.
Yeah. Would you say you lost your mind, sort of?
No.
No.
Not exactly.
Okay.
I wasn't crazy, but it's incredibly stressful.
Yeah.
And I feel like in a lot of instances, I was deliberately being put through stress.
And they do what's called a salt trap. I didn't know this. Apparently baboons love salt.
Okay.
So they put a lump of salt in a hole and they wait for the baboon. The baboon comes, sticks his hand in the hole, grabs the salt. Salt makes his hand bigger and he's trapped. He can't get his hand out. Now, if he's smart, all he does is let go of the salt. Baboon doesn't want to let go of the salt. Then the bushman just comes, takes the baboon, throws him in the cage, and gives him all the salt he wants. And then the baboon gets thirsty. The bushman lets him out the cage. The first place the baboon runs to is water. Bushman follows him, and they both drink to their fill. And in that analogy, I felt like the baboon.
With the release of new documents tied to Jeffrey Epstein, public conversation has widened as many previously named figures are once again being examined. The files have renewed focus on well-known social, political, and business leaders, including references to former political figures, technology executives, wealthy investors, and members of royal families. Although being listed or mentioned does not automatically suggest wrongdoing, some observers point out that certain names had already surfaced in rumors or online discussions years earlier where media coverage often treated them as unverified connections. The newest documents are viewed by some as providing more detailed timelines and contact records, while experts warn that appearing in files alone does not prove criminal involvement.
Law firm is stepping down over his association with Jeffrey Epstein. Paul Weiss law chair Brad Karp says in a statement, quote, "Recent reporting has created a distraction and has placed a focus on me that's not in the best interest of the firm." The firm says Karp will remain with the firm, just in a different role. Senior Washington reporter Will Staken is here for more. Hi, Will. So what's the latest on this growing list of prominent people facing scrutiny over the Epstein files?
Yeah, Diane, well I think, Mr. Karp right here is kind of the latest fallout from these Epstein files. Like you said, the really powerful law firm Paul Weiss announced that Mr. Karp would be stepping down after his name appeared in these files. Now, the law firm did not give a reason why Mr. Karp is stepping down, and previously the law firm denied Mr. Karp had any wrongdoing, but with this release of these files, his name appears in the files, mostly with his assistant trying to schedule meetings with Mr. Epstein. But there's an email between Mr. Karp and Epstein where he's asking about if he could help, get his son some kind of job in an upcoming Woody Allen film. So I think these emails, obviously are continuing to have fallout across, widespread industries. It's kind of the latest fallout here. We saw recently that popular wellness influencer Peta Attia also stepped down from his role at the protein company.
The release of records connected to Jeffrey Epstein has intensified public debate and in some cases influenced the reputation of individuals mentioned in the conversation. Among the frequently discussed names is Bill Gates, whose meetings with Epstein were reported by media sources to have begun around 2011, after Epstein's criminal conviction. According to public reports, Gates and Epstein met several times and shared private dinners in New York. Gates has stated that these interactions were focused on philanthropic and scientific topics. While the relationship has been widely examined online, there is no confirmed evidence that it involved any criminal activity.
His name before, there are more unsettling allegations surrounding Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates. Yep, came out as part of the release. It was revealed that back in 2013, Epstein allegedly claimed that Gates was looking to get medication to treat an STD because of having sex with Russian girls. Keyword Russian. We'll get back to that. Yeah, apparently Epstein had penned this draft email on behalf of a Gates advisor who wanted to maybe leave the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So Epstein seemingly wrote in this guy's voice, "In my role as his right hand, I had been asked on multiple occasions and in hindsight wrongly acquiesced into participating in things that have ranged from the morally inappropriate to the ethically unsound, and had been repeatedly asked to do other things that get near and potentially over the line into the illegal. From helping Bill to get drugs in order to deal with consequences of with Russian girls, to facilitating his illicit trysts with married women, to being asked to provide Adderall for bridge tournaments, I feel I owe it to my friends and future colleagues to admit a moral failure." So there was a spokesperson for Bill Gates who rejected the allegations, saying these claims are absolutely absurd.
Public discussion about connections to Jeffrey Epstein has often centered on how he maintained contact with influential individuals, although being linked or mentioned in documents does not automatically indicate wrongdoing. One of the most frequently discussed figures is Prince Andrew, whose relationship with Epstein has faced legal and media scrutiny. Some court filings and emails alleged that Epstein helped arrange meetings involving women at his residences and facilitated introductions in different countries, but many details remain disputed or unproven. Prince Andrew has faced major public criticism and legal consequences related to these associations. Statements attributed to acquaintances or former partners about the meaning of being listed in documents are not universally verified.
Everybody that was very powerful. So like if you were on the scene and you were powerful, like to be honest, like if you're not in those files, it would be an insult because it just means that you were a bit of a loser.
Right. So the people who aren't in the files are loser.
Yes.
Okay. Are you in the files?
Well, of course I am, because it's any journalist that wrote about it.
That's an astonishing attitude, isn't it? You're the loser because you're not in this. I find that.
The presence of Jeffrey Epstein within elite social circles has led many to question how he was able to operate in such influential environments. Epstein's access is often discussed in terms of networking structures involving intermediaries, institutions, and individuals who may have introduced him to powerful contacts. Some critics believe that high-level social groups are typically selective and depend on trusted referrals, which partly explains how someone like Epstein could interact with wealthy and political figures. At the same time, others argue that his activities were eventually uncovered through law enforcement investigations, and there is no definitive evidence showing that institutions intentionally protected him.
What do you, if I gun to your head, what do you think your best assessment of what Epstein, who was Epstein, who was he working for?
Well, I don't know, right? So I'm just guessing. Everybody wants to say he was working for the Mossad. He very well could have been. He could have been working for the CIA. He could have been a guy who was on his own, but also working with them, right? Like a guy that they used, but they never fully endorsed.
Like an asset?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a guy who could move money around.
Right.
He definitely...
Good at laundering money.
The moving money around stuff was very weird because he had money through no way that anybody could ever explain.
Yeah.
He had an enormous amount of money through no way that nobody could ever explain. Which, you know, if you're state funded, you're funded by Israel and Israel's funded by America. And, you know, there's also NGOs and nonprofits and there's ways to move money around where you can give this guy money.
Yeah.
So he was like Weinstein, who is an economist, right? Weinstein's a legitimate mathematician.
Eric?
Yeah. So when Eric met him, his first inclination was he was a fraud.
He's a construct.
Yeah, a construct. And did he tell you the whole story about the girl sitting on his lap?
Yep.
So Epstein, while he's meeting with Eric Weinstein for the first time, has a beautiful girl sitting on his lap, and a woman, I shouldn't say girl. He said she was like in her 20s, and she's sitting on his lap, and he's bouncing around, so her tits are juggling around.
While he's asking math questions.
Yeah, talking serious. So he was obviously...
There has been extensive online discussion about the death of Jeffrey Epstein, including speculation over whether he agreed to cooperate with authorities before his death. However, no confirmed public record has revealed a full cooperation agreement, and there is no verified evidence that Epstein formally became an informant. Reports about issues such as surveillance camera failures, guard conduct, and physical injuries have fueled conspiracy theories, but official investigations concluded that his death was a suicide. Claims that powerful individuals had motives to silence him remain speculative, and authorities have not released credible proof linking his death to any coordinated cover-up.
Epstein was possibly about to cooperate with the feds right before he died. That on July 29, 2019, his lawyers and the federal prosecutors in this case, in very general terms, discussed the possibility of a resolution of the case and the possibility of the defendant's cooperation. Cooperation's key. Defense counsel did not make a specific proposal, and they did not indicate what the nature of Epstein's cooperation might be, if any. But it was suggested that defense counsel contact SDNY if Epstein was prepared to accept responsibility for his conduct and or they had a specific proposal for a resolution of this case. Okay, so maybe he was going to work out a deal and then he dies, right? That looks suspicious. This is a guy who had connections to the rich and powerful, potentially had a lot of information.
Public discussion surrounding the case of Jeffrey Epstein continues because many questions remain in the public mind, even though official investigations determined that he died by suicide and found no verified evidence of a wider, coordinated cover-up. The large volume of documents, names, and historical connections has led some people to feel that accountability was incomplete, while others stress that being mentioned in records does not automatically mean criminal involvement. At this stage, much of the speculation about hidden networks or secret roles remains unproven, and any conclusions should rely on verified investigative findings rather than online interpretations.